These are Formula One fails, but they get increasingly more stupid. Il predestinato?
Charles Leclerc is Cooper in Spa! He wins in Monza!
No. This is Il Caos Totale.
We swapped the cars. Have a tea break while you're at it. Come on.
F1 testing 2025 gave us everything but data, unless you count environmental hazards as telemetry. First, the blackout, and I don't mean metaphorically. On day one, the entire Bahrain paddock went dark. Monitors, dead. Radios, silent. Lights, gone. Teams were literally pulling out phones to use the torch like they were at a Coldplay concert. Prepped for months, and now you're vibe checked by a power cut. Classic. Of course, no data means no running. Red flag. Turns out a grid failure knocked everything offline, and the FIA had to delay things by an hour. Not great when your entire job is testing. I mean, even a toaster needs electricity. But hold on, because the FIA had more content planned. Day 2 brought rain in Bahrain. Yeah, let that sink in. Excuse the pun. The same desert where clouds are rare decided to go full Spa mode. Wet tires suddenly mattered. Haas now somehow pulled laps out of nowhere, but Aston Martin? Man, they brought 3 sets of intermediate tires, like solely and exclusively if it rains. Nevertheless, when the rain came, they said the track wasn't that wet, and used that as an excuse to start filming TikToks. And yeah, this is the same Aston Martin that binned it in Australia after collecting basically zero data.
So hits the barriers.
Had more grip than their car, but the final day, peak slapstick.
Red flag. Is this a test crafting?
No, it's
An actual red flag.
Because a window fell from race control. A literal sheet of glass shattered on track. It didn't hit anyone, thankfully, but had it dropped 5 seconds later, it could have taken someone out. And just when you thought it couldn't get dumber, a bus entered the circuit.
Wow, that's well, it's an amazing bus tour, but not one that we wanted to see at that moment.
Yep. During an active test, a shuttle bus went rogue and cruised down the straight like it was late for a school run. You cannot make this up. Marshall's red flagged again. Everyone just stood there like, what are we even doing here? No idea. So, to sum it up, rain, glass, power cuts, public transport. Yeah, honestly, if a flaming meteor crashes testing next year, I probably won't blink. Just like him. Ah yeah, you know who's coming.
God, it's not looking where he's going. Look at that.
Monaco 2021. Vettel and Gasly are having the cleanest side-by-side scrap we've seen in Monte Carlo in like a century. I mean, it's Monaco. No one overtakes here unless they're bored of being alive. So this was pure gold. And then...
They're going to go wheel to wheel up on Rivage here. Sebastian Vettel and Pierre Gasly. Oh, what has happened? To know who's going to come out in front as we see Lance Stroll hitting the barrier and going over the curb. I think Sebastian Vettel ahead of Pierre Gasly. Yes, he is.
Man, I don't like to spread hate, but someone please tell me this guy got fired. Of course, I'm talking about the TV director, in case you hadn't noticed. See, that's just the start of the Strollverse. Fast forward to Brazil 2024, Formation Lap. The race hadn't even started. You'd think the grid is just vibing, warming up the tires, right? Not Lance.
It's an F already. Stroll finds himself off the road on the formation lap.
My guy span out on turn 4 like he pressed the eject button mid-corner. Like I always say, these things can happen. However, if you want to see the bright side, Lance basically opened a masterclass on how not to finish a formation lap.
Joe, we were talking about the rookies, and he has gone into the wall.
Poor Isaac. Nevertheless, doing stuff before race start is embarrassing, but what happened after?
It's
Looney. I have no words for that. He beached the car before the race even started. That's like getting injured during the national anthems. To make things worse, people instantly started memeing. Can you guess what the trending topic was back then? But hey, at least he wasn't blindfolded this time. Can't say the same for Monza 2019. Vettel spun out of Ascari, and while he was trying to rejoin, he tagged Stroll and spun him around. Fair enough. Chaos happens. Then Lance decides, alright, my turn. He complains about Vettel on the radio and immediately rejoins the track with zero spatial awareness.
What the Stay out.
That's right. Let's talk about the moment our beloved and unpredictable team turned a common pit stop into a championship slipping away in the most stupid way possible. Singapore 2008. Felipe Massa was on pole.
Is go! Massa on the left, Hamilton on the right. Watch out for Raikkonen attacking Hamilton. He goes to the inside.
Flawless start, leading comfortably. He looked unstoppable. Championship material. Then came the pit stop. Safety car out, chaos everywhere, and Ferrari, they fumbled.
Oh no! That's a big mistake. Massa's gone. Not for the first time. Ferrari's lighting system and their release. He's taken the hose with him as well, I think.
The mechanics sprint like it's a 100-meter race. Massa drives off with the fuel hose still attached. They chase him down, rip it off manually, drive through penalty. He drops to the back, finishes P13, no points. And to make it worse, that was Crashgate. Renault rigged the race with Piquet crashing on purpose to help Alonso win.
Oh, big crash. That's Nelson Piquet. And that is likely, I would have thought, to bring out a safety car. Is it? It's off the line. There's the situation. Fernando Alonso coming through to take the checkered flag and claim a very, very well-deserved victory in Formula One's first ever night race.
Renault got punished. Felipe never got those points back. He lost the 2008 title by 1 single point. The most Ferrari way to lose a championship, honestly. But hey, they're not the only ones doing dumb stuff with fuel hoses. Fast forward to Brazil 2009. Early in the race, safety car drops. And here comes Kovalainen for a pit stop. Everything looks normal. He gets new tires, fuel goes in, and then, boom.
Oh, we got the fuel hose on. Kovalainen's car.
Oh, there was fire in the pit lane as well.
And Kinney, no panic, just drives through like it's a casual Tuesday. And fire wasn't done yet, because it seemed like it wanted to celebrate the 2012 Spanish Grand Prix with the team.
In 2012, we had 4 from 4. It's now going to be 5 out of 5. Another different winner. A new winner in Formula 1. It's Pastor Maldonado and Daniel Williams with their first Grand Prix victory since Juan Pablo Montoya in 2004.
Astonishing. Mechanics hugging, champagne spraying, Pastor probably eating arepas in the paddock. When suddenly, boom, the garage literally catches fire. A fuel rig explodes 90 minutes after the race. Force India and Caterham pit crew run with the extinguishers. It looked like an apocalypse. And Pastor, man just walked into history and out of a burning garage. Is this the Venezuelan style? We'll never know. But one thing is for sure, this is definitely the most Maldonado way to end a celebration after a win. Let's rewind one more time. Germany 1994. Jos Verstappen in the Benetton. Pit stop. Fuel goes in, then flames.
Yo, that's the first time we've had a fuel splash. Oh my goodness me.
Full car, full pit crew, everything is on fire. Turns out Benetton removed a tiny fuel rig filter to save milliseconds. And those milliseconds turned into one of the scariest pit lane fires ever. The cockpit lit up, crew driving away, and Jos, he somehow escaped with minor burns. No idea how. Man was straight up toasted. So yeah, pit stops, not safe, not calm, not just tire changes. They're war zones with tire guns and gasoline hoses. Between hoses getting yanked like party poppers, Ferrari sprint squads, flaming McLarens, garages going kaboom, and drivers turning into ghost riders. The pit lane is basically an action movie, and at this point, F1 mechanics should honestly get combat bonuses. And speaking of teams under pressure, if the pit lane is where mechanics fight to survive, the track is where teammates forget they're on the same side, because nothing says team spirit like wiping each other out before turn 4. It's 2016, Spain, and from the jump, the vibes were off. Lights out, Rosberg gets a better start, cuts across turn 1 and takes the lead. By turn 3, Hamilton's recovering. He sees a gap down the inside and just sends it. Results? Me dropping a dookie. Like this wasn't some midfield oopsie. These were two guys fighting for the title. I can imagine Toto's reaction. And this wasn't just a racing incident. Lewis and Nico, they used to be bros. Shared rooms, shared dreams, shared beds. I mean, for karting reasons, obviously. But once they both landed in a title-contending Merc in 2014, it got ugly.
Rosberg has got. Oh,
2015, beef. 2016, personal. And this crash was the breaking point. Obviously, Nico won the title that year.
Nico Rosberg is second. He takes the championship 34 years after his father. It's like father, it's like son for the Rosbergs.
But immediately dipped, retired, gone.
I want to take the opportunity to announce that I've decided to end my Formula 1 career.
One last middle finger to Lewis, I guess. Oh boy. And if you think the relationship between Nico and Lewis was tough, let's give ourselves a reminder about Webber and Vettel, running P1 and P2, until suddenly, not.
oh, did it come together? Webber and Vettel have come together. That's Vettel going out, Webber going out. What was going on there?
I mean, imagine being in the same team, driving the same car, sharing the same goals, and still ending up in the gravel together. That's not just a race and fail, that's emotional warfare. But hey, Red Bull learned their lesson, right? Let's move forward in time to Baku 2018. The streets were narrow, the walls were hungry, and Red Bull had just given their drivers free rein to fight. What could go wrong, right? Well, this.
But he's going to try and dive down. The inside they have crashed. They've gone into each other. Daniel Ricciardo late braking.
No team orders, just pure chaos. Max was defending like he had dinner reservations and Ricciardo wasn't invited. The tension, palpable. Then lap 40 happened. Ricciardo gets the slipstream. DRS wide open. He's coming in hot. Max throws one move. Fine. Then throws a second move, under braking. Bro, you can't do that. That's a fact. Ricciardo has no time to react, no space. Sends it, locks up. Nuffle. Holy hell. The pit wall, frozen. Homer blinking like a Windows XP error. Dr. Marco probably calculating who to fire. Oh, and before we move on, you remember those fireproof suits? Yeah, turns out F1 drivers might need full armor instead, because now it's not just about the cars and the teams trying to kill them, it's the literal track surface. Baku 2019 really said, why wait for the race to cause chaos? George Russell probably thought his rookie season couldn't get worse. Spoiler, it did. It's FP1. George is flying down the straight between turns 2 and 3, and boom, his Williams gets yeeted by a loose drain cover like it was trying to uppercut him into orbit. It rips through the floor of his car like a can opener. Session over. And you'd think that was the dumbest part, but no. They send out a recovery truck and the driver somehow crashes it into a bridge. So now we've got a broken car, a broken truck, and George's weekend in pieces. The FIA had to cancel the session to inspect every drain cover. People walking around Baku with hammers and duct tape like we're filming F1 Home Depot edition. You'd hope the sport learned, right? Vegas 2023 enters the chat. 8 minutes into practice. Just 8. And Carlos Sainz's weekend is already in pieces. He's flying down the straight, full focus, when bap. The floor gone, the chassis cracked, the battery cooked, his confidence shattered. He doesn't even make it back to the pits. The car dies on track, not from a mistake, but because Master Splinter decided to go for a walk. Anyway, Ferrari doesn't give up, they rebuild the damn thing. Half the car replaced overnight. Amazing work, huh? The start of a comeback, some would say. Well, he gets a 10-place grid penalty. Why? Because they had to replace the battery the track broke. Imagine that. You're doing your job, the organizers screw up, and you get punished. Even Derek Warwick, one of the stewards, said it felt wrong. It was wrong, but rules. And that's the worst part. Everyone knew it was unfair, but nobody did anything. Also, you know what really keeps me up at night? The fact that Vegas spent $500 million making the strip look shiny for the cameras, but forgot to bolt the damn floor down. Meanwhile, 8,800 miles away in Malaysia, mayhem had a different tone. We're talking about the same place where Petrov launched over a bump and came down holding his steering wheel like a trophy, and the place where confusion starts with multi and ends with 21. However, 2017 was random. Grosjean hits turn 13 and boom.
And he is off and into the barrier.
Weekend is done. Turns out the other cars had loosened a drain earlier. Grosjean just triggered the final boss. Haas actually sued the track. Imagine suing the pavement. That's a whole new level. Want more? Monaco 2016. Rosberg drives over a drain. Fine. Button follows. And bang. Drain flies into the underside of his car like a WWE chair shot. Millions in damage. All because someone didn't tighten a screw. So if your city wants an F1 race but can't bolt stuff down, maybe just don't. Because at this rate, manhole covers have a higher DNF rate than half the grid. Thank God we have the safety car. You know, that vehicle designed to protect drivers, slow things down, keep pandemonium under control. Nevertheless, in F1, somehow it all became part of the truth show. And no one knows that better than Taki Inouye, a driver who didn't just suffer from bad luck, but became a full-blown magnet for absurdity. Man's got some great tweets, not gonna lie. Anyway, let's start in Monaco 95. Inouye stalls his footwork FA15 during practice. Marshals do their job, but then, out of nowhere, the safety car slams into the footwork side and flips the car mid-toe. The car rolls over like it's in a rally stage, not the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. And somehow, Inouye climbs out unhurt. You'd think that would be it, right? One freak accident. Lesson learned. No, in Hungary, his car catches fire during qualifying. He jumps out, grabs a fire extinguisher, and starts putting it out himself. And then, while he's on foot, still holding the extinguisher, the safety car arrives and runs him over. Same guy, same season. This time, not even in the car. And still, he gets collected like he's part of the debris. You can't write this stuff. He races the next weekend like nothing happened. But it's not just Take. Brazil 2002. Enrique Bernardi crashes at the Senna S. The usual routine, the medical car pulls up. The doctor opens the door. But the universe had other plans. It was the kind of impact that makes you wonder if the door owed him money. But sometimes it's not about the F1 drivers. It could be the unsafety car. Monza 2024. Dry weather, empty track, no pressure. The safety car? It's out for a routine systems check before the weekend. At the wheel, Bernd Mailander, the man who's led more laps behind the safety car than most drivers have under green flags. He's done this 1,000 times. And yet, as he comes through Curva Alboreto, the car snaps. No drivers nearby, no racing, just the safety car crashing. If that's what happens when things are calm, imagine what it looks like when the chaos gets real. Monaco 1996, the one weekend every team dreams of winning. The yachts, the cameras, the legends. It's not just a race, it's the race. And on that Sunday, it was raining. Not heavy, but enough to turn the track into a trap. Monaco already has zero margin for error. Add water, it becomes a minefield. The race starts with 22 drivers. By the end, only 3 finish. 3. The rest crashed, broke down, or just gave up trying to survive. Mr. Schumacher, world champ, on pole, goes into the wall on lap 1. No contacts, no pressure. He just loses it. Hill takes the lead, then loses his brakes and retires.
And smoke out the back of the wheel. And Hill out of the Monaco Grand Prix. He was destined not to win this race. And as the Englishman's heart will be plunging to his boots.
Villeneuve, nowhere. Another big name gone. One by one, the biggest names in the sport just disappear. And while all that chaos unfolds up front, Olivier Panis, starting all the way back in P14, keeps it clean. No dives, no risks, just pure focus. Lap after lap, the track clears. Not from the rain, but from retirement. And suddenly, Panis is in the lead. It's not domination, it's survival. By lap 75, he crosses the line. Only 2 other cars still running, and Olivier Panis becomes a Monaco GP winner. Not because he was the fastest, but because he was the last man standing. And as wild as that sounds, Monaco 96 was just the beginning. Valencia 2010, Webber is chasing down Kovalainen. Gets too close, can't slow down. He hits the back of the Lotus and gets launched. Literally. Classic Webber chaos. And don't forget Le Mans 99. Same guy, same flight, just different car. At least the board was safe this time. Then we got Zhou Guanyu, Silverstone 22.
Lights out, away we go. Assemble, car over, upside down.
Man got flipped upside down and slid for 200 meters into a fence. The roll hoop snapped. The Halo, MVP. It literally saved his life. The crash was so nasty that Silverstone had to redesign turn 1. Bro almost respawned in the crowd. And of course, last but not least, Alonso Australia 2016. It's lap 17. He's behind Esteban. No, not Ocon. Chill. I saw you flinch. I'm talking about Gutierrez. The McLaren's a lawnmower in disguise, but he's wringing the neck out of it anyway. He closes in, just a bit too close. Touches the rear tire. Everything goes wrong. 45G impact. The Halo didn't exist yet. The survival cell held, but barely. If even one thing had failed, this story ends differently. But the Spaniard climbs out. He walks over and hugs Esteban. Not because he's mad, but because they're both still here. So yeah, this wasn't just a bad day at the office. This was a horror film in broad daylight. Because if this is what F1 looks like when everyone's trying to get it right, wait till you see what happens when someone completely loses the plot at turn 1. Welcome back, Nikita. Just kidding. It was Jack Doohan. But come on, let's be real. They both exist in the same crash and burn compilation on YouTube. And no, I'm not exaggerating. So it's FP1 at Suzuka. Jack's finally in the Alpine, full of hype, full throttle. But Suzuka's turn 1 is fast. No hard braking. And of course, DRS doesn't close automatically. You have to shut it yourself. Just as he did, right? Right?
Pinola.
Jesus. I actually winced watching it. Bro, you're fighting for your career and you start playing some stupid games with your DRS. See, things were already sketchy. Alpine have Colapinto lurking in the shadows, Aaron lurking in the shadows of those shadows, Hiroaka lurking... Okay, you get what I'm trying to say. So Jack needed to deliver, but instead, Bogan. And this wasn't part 3 of the trilogy. Rewind a few weeks and we're in Australia, his home GP, the golden chance. Every Aussie fan cheering. Channel 10 probably had a Doohan cam ready. And Jack...
A big moment into the wall, and the Alpine finds the barriers. Jack Doohan on debut gets no further than the exit of turn number 5.
Yeah, not exactly the way you want to start your career. But hey, that was a tough day, and many other crashes proved it so. Bad luck, huh? Okay, forget it. Worst thing? This is Alpine we're talking about. A Scuderia that let Piastri walk because they couldn't do paperwork. The second Jack hit that wall, I'm 99% sure someone in the garage whispered,
"This is Franco." but I feel like you guys know that by now.
Sure, everyone makes mistakes. But after all, are these fails just the price we pay for the drama we love? You would think, hey, this is the pinnacle of motorsport. There shouldn't be so many fails, right? But believe me, there's a lot more than you think. And there is one team that represents that. If you want to see more stupid fails in Formula 1, make sure to watch this. Glad you stayed until the end. And as always, thank you for watching.